right? Check, check, check. All right, looks like everybody can hear me. Great. All right. Welcome everybody to the Ethiopian Bible Study Series, episode 8, A New World, right? I'm your host, the High Priest, Sakuma Zingami Lembu. Thank you all for joining us today and welcome, right? All right, we're going to be continuing in the book of Genesis, chapter 8, verse 1. So let's get right into it. All praise and glory be to Yah. God remembered Noah, all the animals, and all the livestock that were with him in the ship. And God made a wind to pass over the earth. The waters subsided, the deeps, fountains, and the sky windows were also stopped, and the rain from the sky was restrained. The waters continually receded from the earth. After the end of 150 days, the waters receded. The ship rested in the seventh month on the 17th day of the month on Ariat's mountains. Okay, let's hold it there for a moment. Now, of course, those who have done the research in this thing, those who have eyes that can see, ears that can hear, you already know that they have discovered where Noah's Ark remains to this very day, right where the Bible says it was in Mount Ariat, right? I'm gonna read that part again. Yes, on Ariat's mountains with an S. So they found Noah's Ark in the mountains Ariats, right? And the reason why there's not such a huge big deal about it, obviously, is because they don't want to prove in his wicked days that, of course, the Bible is true and correct and accurate. Like we've been teaching you from the very beginning, all you sons and daughters of Jacob, these scriptures are the truth, right? The word of the Most High is true. Anyone speaks against the word of the Most High is a liar. It is what it is. So the waters recede. Um, the Most High is letting know and give them updates, letting them know that the water's receding and that soon they can disembark, basically. And it shows also that the Most High has power over all these things. He had power to make the waters rain. He had power to make the waters from beneath rise up, and he has power to stop it, to have us come to its conclusion. Right? Just like when it comes to the judgment by fire, the Most High has the power to bring forth the destruction, even in this modern day. Right? The destruction of America, the the fall of all the nations. He doesn't just say he's going to do these things. He has the power to make it so, to bring it to bear, right? So to speak. So when the nukes drop, he has the power to, cause these nations to utilize their nuclear arsenal, even though they know good and well that the use of nuclear weapons is the destruction of their nations and the world. But he has the ability, power to persuade them to do what you would think was against their interest, right? So he's going to bring forth the destruction that he talks about in the scriptures, just like he did in the days of Noah, right? He brought forth the rain. He brought forth the flood. He brought forth the destruction of the nations of that day. He brought forth the destruction of the people in that day. He brought forth the destruction of the earth by way of water, by way of flood in that day. And he is the one who's going to bring forth the destruction of this planet, these nations, these wicked people, this time by way of fire, right? So the concept that the Most High is all love, you don't have no abilities to uh, have vengeance, judgment, to go against whole entire nations. I mean, these Christians would have you believe that the Most High deals with everybody on an individual basis, and that he's lovey-dovey. He's gonna forgive everything, no matter how much you do, no matter how many bodies, how many bones are in your closet. Just call there JC, and you're good to go. And that's not the situation. It wasn't the situation when it came to Noah's day with the wicked of that day, and it's not going to be the scenario when it comes to the wicked of this day, right? All praise and glory. But yeah, again, the Most High tells you the end from the beginning. Though Noah was there with his friend, the lost books tell you that he was not alone. He was with another righteous man who passed away prior to the flood. But they both was teaching and warning the inhabitants of the earth at that time about the coming judgment that they had, that Moses, excuse me, that Noah, not Moses, that Noah had heard from the Most High. All praise and glory be to Yah, right? And it's an interesting parallel, right? Because uh, Moses comes later, and there's Moses and Aaron, right? All praise and glory be to Yah. And then you fast forward, and well, people are like, hey, wait, Jesus, or even though his name wasn't Jesus, Yahshua HaMashiach. So they're like, Yahshua HaMashiach, he was by himself, right? He wasn't a pair. He was a solo artist. He was, the son of the Most High. It was him and no other. But they forget that um, Yeshua, and also there was um, what's his name, John the Baptist. All praise and glory be to Yah, right? Which were cousins, apparently, if you look at the other lost books and what have you. In fact, they met each other in the womb together when Yahshua Mashiach's mother and the mother of John, soon to be called John the Baptist. Again, these are the Europeanized names. All praise and glory be to Yah. But you know who I'm talking about, right? So, you know, there was a connection between John the Baptist and Yeshua. In fact, those who came across John the Baptist's ministry and believed in it, was acceptable to Yahshua HaMashiach's ministry and continued in it. In fact, some of John the Baptist's disciples came over to Yeshua and began to follow him, right? And we know John the Baptist was imprisoned, and ultimately lost his head. God willing. Praise be to Yah, you know, in which Yeshua heard of, and so forth and so on. So, you know, they worked together. In fact, their ministry was together. It shows you that by the disciples of John being persuaded to uh, go with Yeshua when Yeshua arrived, when Yeshua was baptized, after which some of his disciples came over to Yeshua, right? And John the Baptist was brought low so that Yeshua HaMashiach's ministry could rise. So, you know, in a lot of different ways, you can count them as a pair. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. In fact, you know, uh, Yahshua HaMashiach, he's the son of the Most High, no doubt. All praise and glory be to Yah. And he was when he was describing John the Baptist, paraphrasing so, he was like, um, basically, you know, John the Baptist was like the least in heaven, or like least, but yet he was magnified, greatest on the earth type, right? I'm paraphrasing, you know. So, you know, we have Yahshua, who's the son of the Most High, right? The greatest, right? Through him, all of us travel this narrow road to the Most High, back to the Most High. And then you have John the Baptist, who was described as basically the opposite, in terms of the angelly order, you know, but yet both of their ministry was united. And so much, in fact, that, um, those disciples of John the Baptist who was baptizing people began to baptize people with Yeshua when they linked up with Yeshua Hamashiach. They continued the baptism type of service, even though Yeshua himself didn't baptize. The disciples that came onto him and began to walk with him, they began to baptize as well. And of course, Hamashiach, I'm paraphrasing, so was saying basically, this is the baptism of water, but the baptism that he's going to do or be about in the future was going to be a baptism of fire and spirit. Again, I'm paraphrasing. All praise and glory be to Yah, right? So again, it just shows you how these two ministries of John the Baptist and Yeshua was paired. All praise and glory be to Yah. They were paired ministries. They were both cousins. They both met each other in the womb, and John the Baptist baptized Yeshua HaMashiach, right? And we'll get into that when we get into the New Testament. Yah willing, if there's time, all praise and glory be to Yah. But again, it just shows you how the Most High deals with pairs. He dealt with pairs with Noah, even though, uh, you know, the majority of people know the story of Noah, and they don't recognize or haven't been taught about his pair, right? His friend who was ministering with him, the father of the daughters of his sons, was with Noah, taught and warned the sons of men in that day with Noah, right? And the Most High didn't want that friend of Noah, that uh, pair of Noah, to actually experience the flood, the destruction. So he had him perish before the flood. And you get this in the lost books. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. So even though the world have heard the Noah historical story, right, what's been abjugated, what's been taken out, was has not been um, put forth, is the fact that Noah wasn't alone. It was Noah and the father of his sons' wives. They were actually together teaching the sons of man, the people on the earth in those days, about the judgment that was going to come, and trying to persuade them to come back to the Most High in spirit and truth, to turn from their wicked ways. In which, of course, the people refused until the judgment. So it's just interesting how we see pairs. We see Noah and the father of his sons' wives as a pair, right? We see Yeshua HaMashiach and John the Baptist as a pair. All praise and glory be to Yah. Um, you know, uh, of course, we see Jacob and Esau as a pair, and of course, there was just a pair that didn't work out. Obviously, they were opposites, and we defined the difference between an opposite and a pair is. A pair is those who work out together in the service of our Father. A simple definition. And opposites are pairs that didn't work out. They didn't work together in the service of our Father. They were opposite, right? And then we come to, of course, the anointed King of Israel and the high priest, who are indeed pairs, right? In the beginning, of course, growing up, we were rivals. So I guess you could say we were opposites, right? We strove with one another. We competed with one another. We're adversaries, or at least, he was adversarial to me. Word video, you know. But in time, the Most High came to me with the revelation of who we are and so forth and so on. And the Most High healed the breach that my brother and I had between us. And he took us from being rivals in our youth to being pairs, from being opposites to being pairs, right? And in the service of our Father. All praise and glory be to Yah. So you have Noah and the father of the wives of his sons being a pair. You have Yahshua HaMashiach and John the Baptist being a pair. You have Moses and Aaron being a pair. And you have the anointed king of Israel and the high priest uh, first being opposites, and then the Most High healing the breach and revealing that we are indeed pairs. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. And again, this was so from the very beginning, from Genesis. That's the reason why I'm talking to you about Noah and his pair. That the story of Noah wasn't just all about him and his sons. His sons had daughters, and the father of those daughters was Noah's pair. It's just that that pair didn't go with him into the new world. All praise and glory be Yah. Again, the Most High's will is the Most High's will. Though Noah's pair was righteous as well, the Most High gave him righteousness as well. Um, but the Most High didn't see fit to have his friend go with him into the new world. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. But there was a separation. The friend passed away, left his daughters to Noah, Noah's sons, and Noah and his sons and the daughters of his pair went into the ark, survived the flood, and then repopulated the earth thereafter. All praise and glory be to Yah. And again, of course, uh, you know, there's a similitude with the anointed king and the high priest. We are a pair, but the separation is going to happen. The first fruit is going to be exalted and go into the heavens. Now, and the anointed king is going to have long life into eternity, coming out of Babylon into the wilderness, into the land of milk and honey, then ultimately into the secret place. And we're going to be separated for a period of time, long life into eternity, right? But then in the end, the Most High is going to make both folds, the fold that Yahshua HaMashiach is over, basically, and the fold that the Most High is with are going to ultimately come back together again, in which, of course, the anointed king and the high priest will be reunited in the same plane of existence. Praise and glory be to Yah forevermore, right? So for us, it's a temporary separation, though it's long life into eternity. So it's a long time per human standards, but um, is not permanent, right? The longer period of time is eternity, us being a pair for eternity. So again, just realizing that again, the book of Genesis tells you the end from the beginning. Noah and his pair was separated. His pair didn't see the new world. His pair died before the flood. And Noah and his family seen the new world and procreated the new people of that new world through genealogy, through his loins, the loins of his children. And likewise, in the end, you have the anointed king of Israel, the remnant being up under the king, being led into the land of milk and honey, into the secret place in which they're going to repopulate Israel and the nations and the heathen nations, right? Within the secret place, for long life into eternity. While the high priest, the first fruit, and the 144,000 and Yeshua rule the earth for 1,000 years, right? And the nations are changed, not to what they used to be, but into new nations with new uh, beings that are um, part 144,000 because they come from their seed and mortal. All praise and glory be to God because the women are mortal, right? So it's pretty interesting how it correlates the end and the beginning. All right. So let's continue. The waters receded continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were visible. At the end of the 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ship which he had made, and he sent out a raven. It went back and forth until the waters were dried up from the earth. He himself sent out a dove to see if the waters were abated from the surface of the ground. But the dove found no place to rest her foot, and she returned unto the ship to him, for the waters were on the surface of the whole earth. Okay, let's hold it there for a second. So the Most High is confirming that Noah's flood was a worldwide event, right? It was worldwide. It wasn't just um, condensed to one or two continents. It was worldwide. And second, it confirms of the future destruction, the nuclear destruction. Also, likewise, being a worldwide judgment, not just America, not just Russia, China, North Korea, but ultimately the fire is going to touch every continent on the face of this earth, right? So for those who think that it's not going to happen to their country, it's not going to happen to their neck of the woods, it's not going to happen to their city, it's not going to happen to their small town, is fooling themselves. Every continent is going to experience that nuclear fire. All right, back to the scriptures. He put out his hand and took her and brought her to him into the ship. He waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out of the ship, right? Hold on for just a second. Okay. Check, check. All right. Lost sound for a second. Got it back though. All praise and glory. But yeah, I'm glad I paused for a moment. All right, back to the scriptures. He waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out of the ship. The dove came back to him at evening, and behold, in her mouth was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from the earth. He waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him anymore. Right? So again, um, he's checking, utilizing the dove and the raven. The raven found a spot first, and the dove took a couple of periods of 7 days, but ultimately found a spot where trees had begun to flourish yet again, which is interesting because you know everything on the earth died during the flood. You would think that the trees died as well. You would think, but apparently, when the waters began to recede, the trees were still alive. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. I mean, you can't just a tree can't just grow from the ground in 7 days, right? I mean, unless the Most High does it spiritually. So, you know, the water encompassed the earth, and there were trees um, that survived. Praise be to Yah. I mean, it's amazing. All right, back to the scriptures. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from the earth. He waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, and she didn't return to him anymore. In the 601st year, in the first month, and the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth. Noah removed the covering of the ship and looked. He saw that the surface of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. God spoke to Noah, saying, "Go out of the ship, you, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you." Now, also, um, check the order that he's talking, right? He says, "You." First, he's talking to Noah, the righteous man, right? He says, "You and your wife." So the man comes first. Again, going back to the Garden of Eden, when the Most High dealt with the man, he dealt with Adam. He didn't deal verbally, relationship wise, with Eve. He walked with man in the garden in the cool of the day. He didn't walk with Eve. All praise and glory be Yah. And you see the same pattern here with Noah. He's talking to Noah. He's not talking to his wife, right? He's saying to Noah, this is the time, I'm paraphrasing, for you to leave the ark and your wife. So you first, then your wife, right? Then your sons first, then their wives, right? So it shows you yet again the order of things, right? Because in the modern age, you got women thinking that they're the ones that have the relationship with the Most High, especially in Christianity, right? Christianity, these women and their little churches with their pork eating pastors, they're thinking that they have an individual relationship with the Most High. They say they're JC, but we all know it's the Most High and the Hamashiach. But they believe that they have an individual relationship with the Most High that supersedes their husband. despite the fact that they're divorced or whatever. They refuse to recognize that the Most High don't have a direct relationship with them. That He has a direct relationship through Yahshua Hamashiach, then to the man, right? For Yahshua Hamashiach is the head of a man, and a man is the head of a woman. Paraphrasingly so. O ye sons and daughters of Jacob. So these women who believe that they have a direct relationship, a direct um, ability to communicate with the Most High, is delusional. He's already shown it in the book, the creation account, with how he dealt with Adam, and Adam dealt with Eve, and now he's doubling it down by how he's dealing with Noah directly. And then Noah is dealing with his wife and his sons and their wives, telling them what the plan is that he got from talking with the Most High, right? So, despite what these women may believe, may be taught in their Christian churches with their pork eating pastors, they don't have a direct relationship with the Most High, period. His relationship is with their husband or lack thereof, right? They got a wicked husband, an evil, wicked husband. Most High ain't dealing with them because he ain't going through the husband because the husband's wicked. So he ain't talking to them directly. Now, of course, there's nuance, right? There is times in the scriptures, especially during um, Israel being rebellious and being punished, that the Most High did rise up a woman, did make a woman a judge, so to speak, right? But those are during Israel's judgments. They're not the standard, right? When a child is acting bad and that child's on punishment, the conditions of that punishment is temporary. Once the child's back in favor with the parent, they're no longer in restrictions, right? When it was in punishment, maybe they couldn't watch TV, maybe they couldn't play video games, maybe they couldn't see their friends at their house, maybe they couldn't stay after school and hang out with their friends because they were on punishment. But once the punishment is lifted, that's no longer the case, right? They no longer have limitations. And that's the same thing when it comes to, you know, any woman in the historical uh, data of the Bible that was lifted up, made a judge or whatever have you, because of iniquity, because of being Israel being punished because of iniquity, right? That wasn't the standard, and that's not the way that it is normally. Just like women are lifted up in this day, right? They have a throne here in Babylon. The woman is higher than a man in this day and age, right? And that's because Israel in captivity, Israel being punished for 400 years. And so the woman was lifted up as a punishment to the man. But don't get it twisted. That's not the way that it is in general. It's only done at times through punishment. And here comes the salvation of Israel soon. It's already begun with the introduction of the high priest, whom the Most High has sent, and of course, the anointing of the king, so that when the salvation and the scepter is given unto the king, best believe those women who was in charge back in the day, in that day is going to be humbled. They're going to be put back in their place post haste. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. So again, it's showing you right here in Genesis the order of things in righteousness, right? The Most High deals with the man, and the man deals with the woman, his wife, even with his sons, right? The Most High regarded his sons first, and then he regarded their wives, right? So those women talking about, hey, you supposed to hold the door for a woman. You supposed to let a woman go in. You hold the door and you wait outside while she goes into the store, goes into the dinner, goes into the building, right? Well, obviously, chivalry is dead. It was dead from the very beginning. Again, the end is told from the beginning. He didn't say to Noah, hold the door of the ark and let your wife go first. It's only fair. It's only being chivalrous. No, you said you go first. Let me go ahead and read that again. I want to make sure I get this verbatim for all those who would seek to put their wives over them, right? All praise and glory be to Yah. Who would seek to upend the order of things. Okay, verse 15. God spoke to Noah, not his wife, but to him, saying, go out of the ship. So he tells him, go out of the ship, right? You, your wife, your sons, and their wives. Him first, then his wife, then his sons, and then their wives. So, you know, he didn't say hold the door of the ship, let her go, let the women and the children go first. Then you guys come out in that day. So the Most High shows the order. The Most High shows from the beginning how this is going to go. Just like he brought Adam into the Garden of Eden after 40 days, and then he brought his wife into the Garden of Eden after 80 days. Again, these correlate, oh, you sons and daughters of Jacob. These correlate, right? And somebody might be like, hey man, why are you talking about the order of things? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a a, a big point to make. I mean, you could talk about something else. Why are you going over the order? Because it's the order the Most High has made. And for these 400 years, our nation has been out of order, lifting these women above their heads, big mama, big grandmama, right? These men have been going to their deaths chasing after these women and what they think, right? Walking that broad road of destruction, abortions, women's right to abort their babies. You got men co-signing that garbage, all because they was raised by their single mothers and they believe that the black woman knows the way back to the father and is showing them the way back to the father. But that's not the case. All praise and glory be to Yah. The Most High, like He did in this generation, will go to the man whom He has chosen, which in this generation is I, and He will tell that man what's up, and then have that man tell the world, and that's the order. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. You know, say we're gonna read it again. God spoke to Noah, saying, "Go out of the ship, right? You, your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, including birds, livestock, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Right? So you, then your wife, your sons, then their wives, and then guess what? Then the animals, the creeping things, and so forth and so on, in their order. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. So again, the Most High, He doesn't just do things, nilly dilly, randomly, chaotically. That's not how He works, right? He's a Yah of order, and He does things orderly, and He commands the man whom He has sent, whom He's dealing with, to do things orderly while revealing the order to that man. Just like He showed me the order a long time ago in regards to his order, the Most High, the Hamashiach, the chosen leadership, the children of Israel, then the Gentiles and heathens, right? All praise and glory be to Yah the Father. The 144,000, they're no longer be considered Israel. So they're in reality a different strand, a different order. Praise be to Yah, right? So he's giving me the order to teach unto you guys uh, of Israel, of the connection between Most High and man, right? The Most High, the Mashiach, the chosen leadership, his people, Israel, then the Gentiles and heathens, because Israel can be the head of all nations in that day, right? So again, the order. And for those of you who may think that you don't need to know the order, many many of people have perished because of lack of knowledge, right? All praise and glory be to Yah. A woman can be the destroyer of kings. So not understanding how to deal with these things, not understanding the order that the Most High has set forth can lead to your destruction. Those brothers killing each other over other women, other people's property. And back in the world we used to call it dumb nigga shit because these guys didn't know the order. They're chasing after skirts. They're falling in love with other men's wives, and they're killing each other over used property, over stolen property, referring to these women, right? So the order is necessary, O ye sons and daughters of Jacob. Just like you teach your children the order, you teach your children to obey their dad and obey their mom, right? Uh, Considering a household that is, um, on the up and up. I'm talking about a household with a father and a mother, not a household with a single mother. And a healthy household with both a father and a mother in a loving marriage, we all know the man, the husband, is the head of that household, right? And the disciplinarian, right? While the mother is the comforter. She's comforting the children. She's, nurturing them, nurturing. All praise and glory be to Yah. While the dad again is providing, protecting, and that disciplinarian of those children love, but definitely are afraid of, right? So there's an order even in the household, even in the family structure, even in the order of the world. All praise and glory be to Yah. And that order is made clear by the Most High from Genesis. All praise and glory be to Yah. So let's get back to it. Uh, um, verse 18. Noah went out. Again, this just confirms what I'm teaching you, that Noah went out first. The order that the Most High was talking about in the earlier passages. It's important for him because he's the one who's reiterating this order from Genesis. He's the one who is um, doubling down on what is good in his eyes, right? From Genesis. So it is important, O you sons and daughters of Jacob, for you to fully understand what it is good in his eyes, that you may walk and do those things and refrain from engaging in things that are not good in his eyes, that he's made clear since Genesis, right? Because if you don't, if you're like, hey, what that high priest know? I want to keep my snow bunny. I want to make her believe that she is the center of my world. All praise and glory be to Yah. What the high priest talking about? Not holding, not opening a door for your wife, not letting her walk before you. He's being a little too nitpicky. He's being a little bit too extreme. Listening to him is gonna have me have a bad night with my wife. All praise and glory be to Yah. Well, again, those men who refuse to do the will of the Father, the things that please the Father, are going to get theirs, man. And they're not going to be able to make excuses to the Most High. But the high priest was using an example of opening a door for your wife. I mean, that's crazy. You ain't going to accept your excuses for your rebellious nature, O you sons and daughters of Jacob. This world is backwards. They tell you the woman goes first. They tell you Big Mama listen to whatever she got to say. They tell you the woman is above the man, better education, makes more money. This world is backward and not pleasing unto the Father, right? You have to turn from this world, not to be conformed with this world, but renew your mind, paraphrasingly so, that you may be conformed to the kingdom, right? And yes, an example, a simple example, is you're supposed to go first. As simple as that, man. You're supposed to go first. Don't be talking about I'm just holding the door for my wife. No, no. You go first, then she goes. Then your children and whomever wives they may have go after them. That is the order. If it wasn't a big deal, then the Most High would have told Noah that him and anyone else and everyone else can go out that ark into the dry land however way they saw fit. If he wanted the animals to go first, do it. But that's not how the Most High works. He is the Yah of order. He showed Noah the order, just like he showed the high priest the order. And I'm teaching you the order, O you sons and daughters of Jacob, even down to the simplicity of not holding the door for your wife, but for you to go first. All praise and glory be to Yah. The Most High had Adam go first into the Garden of Eden. The Most High is going to have the anointed King of Israel to go first into the secret place, the land of milk and honey, the wilderness, the gathering. Then the men of Israel, right? Then the women, and then the heathens. All praise and glory be to Yah the Father, right? And those men who think that these women are gonna go into the gathering before they do, maybe because you ain't going into the gathering, right? Oh, you scum. Those of eyes can see, let them see. Those that have ears to hear, let them hear. So back to verse 18. Noah went out with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives with him. So to make sure that no one uh, misunderstood, he made sure to say Noah and his sons, again, putting the males first, then grouping the women together, right? Noah and his sons and his wife and the wives of his sons, paraphrasing so. So he's lumping these two things separately. He's lumping the men and then he's lumping the women. Just to reiterate that the men go first, then the women. Adam went first before Eve. Noah went first before his wife. His sons went first before their wives. And in the gathering, in the Exodus, right, the second Exodus, the men are going to be established before their wives. In fact, seven wives, seven women are going to go onto one righteous man. So, in order for seven women to go onto one righteous man, that righteous man would have to be what? Established, right? So, the men go first. Okay. Every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, whatever moves on the earth after their families went out of the ship. Noah built an altar to Yahweh and took of every clean animal and every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Yahweh smelled the pleasant aroma. Yahweh said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground anymore for man's sake, because the imaginations of man's heart is evil. From his youth, I will never again strike every living thing, as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night, will I not cease. Right? So it's already setting up that the end of the world isn't going to be by water. The end of the world is going to be by fire, basically. Right? All praise and glory be to the Father. He's also establishing the seasons, saying that the seasons are going to remain the way they are, you know, until he changes them. All praise and glory be to Yah. Which will ultimately, when the earth is destroyed and a new earth and all that stuff, things are going to change. When he makes the sun hotter and the moon brighter, things are going to change. So basically saying from that time until the change, right? But let's continue. Well, actually, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stop it at there. We're going to stop it there. All praise and all glory be to Yah the Father. Let's go. Check, check. All right, let's go ahead and get our prayer on. Yah be thy name, thy kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we forgive those who debted against us. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, the glory, forever and ever. O Yah, please the words thy servant, whom we have chosen to be high priest. Forgive the leadership of Israel for our sins, our iniquity. Separate us from our sins, our iniquity from east to west. Forgive also the children of Israel their sins, their iniquity. Separate them their sins, their iniquity from east to west. Secure the remnant that we lose into them, even the heathens who cleave to the leadership of Israel. Father, one thing with this truth, this ministry. One thing we're healing the breach between our brother and I, allowing us to walk the brotherly covenant. For giving us more food than we can eat, more drink than we can drink, for taking care of us, oh Father, as you have done from the very beginning all the way to the eternal walk. We thank you, oh Father, for showing the order to the high priest, that I may show the order onto the king, and that, the leadership should show the order onto the children of the living Yah, that all may understand and come back in order in the preparation of thy revealing, that they would be ready. Please continue to touch their hearts, touch their eyes that they may see, touch their ears that they may hear, touch their hearts that they may believe and do, touch their hands that they may do, O Father. For surely this is thy way. As we patiently wait and lead us to the power of thy holy mountain, that you will give the scepter of power unto the anointed King of Israel, and exhort the horn of thy anointed. Want to take the opportunity to bless you, Father, praise and worship you, exalt your name for he nations, that they may know that we serve the most high Yah in spirit and truth. There's none like unto thee. Want to take the opportunity to bless thee, bless only God's Son, bless the children of Israel, and bless those who bless Israel. We say all these things in Yahshua's name. And the children of the most high Yah all say, Shalom. Thank you all for watching Ethiopian Bible Study Series, episode 8, right? Episode 8. A New World. I'm your host, the High Priest, Sakuma Zingami Lembu. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you again, Yah willing, next time. Thanks and shalom.